Hey y'all. Today we're going to recap factoring. So the title is Factoring Recap. Make sure you locate this. So we made it some time ago, but it's a factoring progression, and then it has some different examples on the inside, and it's got some stuff on the outside. So that might be a good idea to try to find as we go over some factoring examples. So the first one, x to the third minus 5x squared minus 6x. Your first step when you do any kind of factoring is to find the greatest common factor. So that's down here at the bottom. Your first step is to find the greatest common factor. Whether it's a big problem, a little problem, your first step is to figure out, do those terms have something in common? If they don't have something in common, skip that step. But if they do, you need to pull out the greatest common factor. So let's start with the first one. I got x to the third minus 5x squared minus 6x. So looking up here, I don't see that they share a number, but I do see that they all share a variable of x. So x is going to go on the outside, and everything else is going to go on the inside. If I take an x away, I'm left with x squared. Take an x away, I'm left with negative 5x. Take an x away, I'm left with negative 6. Not finished yet. Now I need to factor this on the inside. So I now need to factor this. So this is what we call factoring like normal. Okay. We put our x's in there. We're trying to think of two numbers that multiply to give me negative 6, add to give me negative 5. So multiplies to give me negative 6, adds to give us negative 5. So those numbers, negative 6, positive 1. Negative 6 times 1 is negative 6, check. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5, check. So this is our final answer. And we have just factored x to the third minus 5x squared minus 6x. If I were to go through and multiply all of this back out using the box method, so remember that. So if I multiply it all out using the box method or distributive property, it would give me my problem up there in the green. All right, number 2. X to the third minus 9x. Again, first step is to check to see what's your greatest common factor. I can see here that they both share a variable of x. Sometimes it might be 5x. Sometimes it might be just a number or just a variable. But you want to pull out whatever they share. So they both share an x. So I'm going to pull that out. Everything else goes on the inside. I take one x away, I'm left with x squared. I take one x away, I'm left with negative 9. Now I need to see if I can break it down a little bit more. So I need to factor this. So I'm trying to think of two numbers that multiply to give me negative 9, add to give me 0, because I don't have an x term in this problem. Multiplies to give me negative 9, adds to give me 0. So I set up parentheses, put my x's in there. Okay. Multiplies to give me negative 9, adds to give us 0. So that must be positive 3 and minus 3. Positive 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Positive 3 plus negative 3 is 0. So we're in business. Again, you can check it, verify, distributive property, box method. Number 3. X to the third plus 6x squared plus 8x. I want to factor that. Pull out the greatest common factor. I see it's another x, so it won't always be x, but the ones that we're doing so far are all x's. So take out an x from every single thing that we're doing, and we're left with this. Break this down. Two numbers that multiply to give me 8, add to give me 6. So those numbers are 4 and 2. 4 times 2 is 8, check. 4 plus 2 is 6. So that is our final answer. And we'll take a look at one more because we're going to factor it. We're recapping our factoring today, so we'll take a look at one more. This time I have 2x squared plus 3x minus 14. 2x squared plus 3x minus 14. If I compare this problem to all the other problems that we've taken a look at, all of those coefficients were 1. So this was 1x to the third, 1x to the third, 1x to the third. Even when I took out the greatest common factor, it was 1x squared, 1x squared, 1x squared. This one has a 2 in the front. So on the back of this foldable that hopefully you found and you pulled out, it tells us our steps on the back on how to factor something that has over here, something that has more than x squared in the front. It tells us how to do that. So let's rock and roll. It's a 4-step method. Step 1, multiply the first and last number. 2 times negative 14. So I'm going to say step 1. That gives me x squared minus 3, plus 3x, minus 28. So step 1, multiply the first and last number. Let's see if I can slide over a little bit more so you can see. Okay, there you go. So step 1, multiply the first and the last number. 2 times negative 14 gives me negative 28. Step 2, factor like normal. And when I say like normal, that's the parentheses. 2 numbers that multiply to give me negative 28, add to give me 3. So those numbers are 7 and negative 4. 7 times negative 4 is negative 28. 7 plus negative 4 is 3. So step 1, multiply the first and last number. Step 2, factor like normal. Step 3, divide by the first number in the problem. The first number in the problem is 2. So I'm going to divide by 2. Divide by 2. So this gives me x plus 7 halves. And negative 4 divided by 2, x minus 2. And the last step, I need to get rid of fractions. So you get rid of fractions by multiplying by the denominator. The denominator is 2 multiplied by 2. Actually, you're going to multiply this whole thing by 2. So my final answer is 2x plus 7, x minus 2. And if I were to multiply this all out using the box method or distributive property, it is going to give me 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. You only do these 4 steps if there's a different coefficient in the front other than 1. Again, you only do these 4 steps if the number in the front is something other than 1. So make sure you find this. It should be somewhere to help you with this factoring. Because we did it, it's been a few weeks ago since we did the factoring.